It's now the morning after I taped this 260-minute set, and I realized that the camera cut out last night with about 3 minutes of my set left. So in the editing process here, I've just added some screen grabs from earlier in the set in a classic Ken Burns effect. Hopefully you still enjoy. It is week number 5 of 260 Minutes Overtime. I'm back at Red Carpet Comedy. This does seem to be where I do most of my new sets since 260 Minutes wrapped up properly last May. I'm going to try to start mixing that up a little bit more in the future. It's always helpful in the creation process. There are 2 premises that I'm really excited about today. While I am excited about the premises, the punchlines and the jokes within them never seem to come together for my perspective. They seem a little hacky and a little obvious, but we'll see if that is the case when there's a room full of people. Tonight's set that I'm going to do almost changed at like 3 o'clock when I found out that my grandma is going to be here and is here. Because this is pretty crude, but then I remembered that my grandma has heard me say the C word like 12 times in 3 minutes. And all she said after that was, "Well, now I've heard everything." So my grandma's a little cooler than your grandma, obviously. And I'm just going to do the set as it is. It's actually interesting because I started thinking about this stuff when on Christmas Day, my grandma that's in Saskatchewan phoned me to like catch up. We were having a pleasant conversation, and suddenly she brings up the fact that like, if I'm in a relationship, no. And then the fact that there are thank you. And then the fact that there are so many of her grandchildren, my cousins, that are at the marrying age, and so few getting married, gosh darn it. Now, I wanted to say any number of things, but I just nodded and smiled through the phone and at the same time Googled vasectomy. There's something really great about talking to your grandmother on the phone while watching a vas deferens get crushed. Like, it's kind of liberating. And I understand why they're kind of concerned, because dating today on the surface does look weird. Like, Tinder, the dating app, is kind of superficial. Like, you have these pictures of people that you swipe left or right to say yes or no to them. It seems superficial until you realize that my grandparents met at a box social. Now, I always thought that a box social was like another term for party, but it's a very specific term for a type of party, also called misogyny. It's where the women that go to this party will make a boxed lunch, and they will take it, and then the men, without looking at the women ever, will just bid on the lunch. And then whoever wins the bid has lunch with that person. And they talk about whatever they have in common. I guess a love of spicy mustard. I don't know. That's the only thing that they have at that point. And that seems like, okay, but then the modern equivalent of that, if that instead of Tinder, like photos of people, it was just photos of sandwiches that the women made. We'd call it Dinder. And you could just swipe left or right. Why stop there? Why not pictures of like the slippers she'll bring you when you get home from a long, hard day, or the scotch she'll pour you, or keeping kids quiet, or her not voting? I'm turned on. How about you? Yeah. Actually, scotch and slippers did sound kind of awesome. I'm not gonna lie. That would be a great way to come home every day. Gotta find myself a girl. I'm curious, like, because now on Tinder and like dating apps, women have found ways to fake it. To like make themselves look better, like the selfie from the extreme angle and everything. I wonder if like back in the box social days, the women had their moms make the dinner to like trick the man into something. Then he gets married and realizes he has to eat this for the rest of his life. That's not a good choice of words. It's my bad. Yeah, man. I actually saw last night. I went to a bar to write some of this stuff down, and Grindr. Is the gay version of Tinder. It's like a hookup app for gay men. And there were these 2 great signs side by side in the lobby of this bar. It said, "Grindr meetup upstairs." Right next to it, "Please choose your seat." I have no idea if they were related or not. So. I will give the older generations the fact that I do think that pornography has gone too far. I think we're just saturated. And I know this because there's this whole movement online now that stopped watching pornography. Permanently and stopped masturbating. It's called no fap. True, because fapping is an online term for masturbating. The internet is good as a lot of things, but we didn't need another slang term for masturbation. This one was built because apparently that's the sound that it makes. I've never gotten that into it, I guess. I don't know. I've never had to silence that. I put headphones in sometimes, but I never have to do that. You can say anything and people will think it's masturbating. Like, oh, I'm gonna go and do the dishes. Like, it's... this is a for real movement online. The people that participate in it are called Fapstronauts. Because they're heroes, I guess. I don't know. Boldly not going where everybody goes daily. I don't know. And there's actually, it actually goes a step further. It's called hard mode. And that's when there's no sexual release at all. No orgasm, even with a partner. Like, no sex for upwards of a year. And hard mode is just the worst name for it. Call it difficult mode, or platinum mode, or daily morning wood. Like, just anything but that. Currently, the movement has 81,000 members and about 200 vaginas. See, because penis is another member is... Okay. It is like very disproportionate, which was interesting to me. And one of the reasons that they get into it is because they think that porn is a very bad example of sex. Of course it is. You know what else is a bad example of sex? Everything else except actual sex. Cosmo magazine, 50 Shades of Grey, Disney movies, for fuck's sakes. But like, that's part of growing up, is realizing you don't get what's in movies. That's entertainment. Like, I don't stop watching Jurassic Park because I'm never gonna get a dinosaur. That would be a weird thing to do. It's a great flick. What's interesting about that, though, is that they actually relate fapping to addiction. And I was trying to picture out, if it is an addiction, then at some point you could have an intervention for a person. And I have no idea what that would look like. Like, a normal intervention is you walking into a room of all of your friends. This version is just them walking into a room of you. Normal intervention is letters, the second is Kleenex, I guess. I don't know. But then I also figured there must be like a 12-step program to like get over it, like the alcoholics do. You probably have a sponsor to get you through tough times, phones you up, like sweater weather is coming, buckle down. I also, the first step of any 12-step program, I've heard, is that you have to admit you have a problem. I don't know when you come to that realization. Like, you just wake up one morning and you're like, oh, my dick's never been that curved before. Should have switched hands. I rotate my tires, same basic principle, wears down one side. What am I thinking? You also then have to go and apologize to everybody that you've wronged with your addiction, right? For me, that would just be like apologizing to strangers in my building. Like, I'm so sorry I hurt and embarrassed you. You didn't hurt and embarrass me. Yeah, I did. Daily, twice on Sunday. Yeah. But we don't know each other. Yeah, but one time you reached over to pick up your keys, and I'm just gonna take the stairs. Okay. One of the steps I've heard is that you have to hand yourself over to a higher power. I don't know what that's like. Like, God, I'm in your hands because I'm no longer in mine. God, I thought that'd be funnier. Okay. Turn of phrase. I actually found this out, though. I do feel bad for these 81,000 people because I read a study once that apparently for prostate, if you don't use it, you lose it. So fapping actually helps prevent cancer in men. Which is my euphemism for masturbating. Just like, I'm gonna go prevent cancer. That's a fundraiser I can get behind, but a very awkward fun run. Like, you know? Puts the fun in run. Oh my, that was my set. I thought it'd be longer and less curved. So, all right, thank you guys. So at any given moment, I'm being rejected by a woman. Any given moment, right now it could be happening. If you listen closely, it's the sound of a woman making a good choice.
With all of the commotion around red carpet comedy tonight, there was a couple things that almost went wrong technically that I had to handle. I didn't get a chance to record this until a couple of hours later. Overall, I would say that set was pretty great. I was maybe a little too harsh on it before going into it. I was really happy with a couple of those beats, and I found a couple of kind of surprising punchlines or moments in it when I was actually doing it, so I'm really looking forward to trying most of that stuff again.